Hello there, YouTube. I just realized I haven't really made a video in a couple days. I've been playing around with this camera a lot. I'm kind of trying to see how long it will time lapse. Like, I'll just check it probably tomorrow and just see how much memory it's used up out of the card. It's been time lapsing for like 3 days now, like 3 full days. So it's the memory's not bad on it. I want the memory to be pretty good, that way I don't have to be replacing the SD card every day and stuff. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, I was just like, came out here to look, and this is my favorite tank, by the way. That's another thing I was just thinking about. The 20 gallons a close second, but yeah, if you guys are thinking about getting like a bigger tank, I definitely would recommend getting either a 40 breeder, which is what this is. Really what I would recommend is getting a 55 gallon long, just because it offers like a really good amount of floor space. And I would really recommend, these guys are really cool, these rainbows, or gold white clouds, or live bears. I have a guppy in here somewhere. I don't see him off the top of my head, but he's almost always around. I doubt he's left us yet if he's been around this whole time. So yeah, live bears would be good in here, or rainbow fish, gold white clouds, something like that. I really like the rainbow fish and the gold white clouds. I'm just a sucker for like the, just like the regular bodied fish. I don't like guppies. Kind of get like a little round and kind of weird looking. Like, I'm not really a goldfish guy, so I don't really like goldfish, like black moors, and like, I don't know, I just like the regular, like slim bodied, hey, I swim through water, I'm a fish, like with some pretty colors on them. And these guys get really good colors. They don't really show up fully on video how good they look, but these guys also aren't all the way colored up yet, so the more they color up, the more they grow. They're still not full size either, so. But yeah, I was just looking at this tank and thinking about how it's my favorite. I was like, I'm gonna do a video on it. And then I started looking really close, and I realized, baby shrimp in here. Well, they're like barely babies anymore. Those are like, I would call them like juveniles or something like that, I guess. Like intermediate sized shrimp, but there's quite a few of them. I've seen a couple. There's one right down in there. There was a couple over here too. But yeah, I definitely didn't have any that small in here before. That guy looks good. He was like spreading his fins back there, but he stopped right before I put the camera on him. But yeah, I definitely did not have shrimp that small in here before. And there's quite a few of them. So one of these guys had their babies, and I think one of these other females, yeah, that female still has eggs. I don't know if you can fully tell there or not, but she does. And this one I think may have been the one who just had eggs, possibly, or she might still have some back there. I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell with her. It's easier to tell with this one, because I can see the bottom of her shell just fully sitting to the side. I can try to. Yeah, I think that one doesn't have eggs, but I'm not sure. Yeah, but I just saw the baby shrimp, and I was like, oh man, I have to talk about the baby shrimp, because I love those baby shrimp, man. And yeah, all the, there's one of the bamboo shrimp. Yeah, there you go. He's back there by that snail. They're just both sitting back there chilling. But yeah, this tank really is doing really good. And I would really advise anyone who wants to get a bigger tank, and you're like, oh, I want to keep an aggressive fish, like, this is my aggressive fish tank. Like, it's not that I don't like this guy. Like, he's a really cool fish, he does cool things, he has really cool color, but it's just that I like this better. Like, this guy can't plant up the aquarium because he constantly moves the gravel around. I only have like the 2 water lilies back there, and then like some java fern. You can plant a couple things in there that you tie down to like rocks and stuff. So that isn't an idea. I mean, you can have plants in there. It's not that you can't, but it's just really like it's just a way less cool tank. Like, this is just a way more cool tank. Like, And you wouldn't even have to have exactly what I have in here, but like, man, like just putting like 10 to 15 small fish that only get like 2 to 3 inches long. These guys only get like 2.5 inches long or so. Like if you just got something like that to kind of like swim around in the middle and the top like these guys do, looks really pretty. Over the planted backdrop, you put a bunch of different plants in, whatever kind of plants you guys decide, you know. Doesn't have to be a dwarf aquarium lily and crypts. I just like all this because like I've had all this stuff in here for a while, and it really just started growing to where it's like it's growing now, you know. Like it's been in here for like 6 months, and now it's like full force growing. So like maybe eventually I have to trim some of this stuff, but like I haven't had to trim anything yet, and it's looked good the whole time without me having to trim it, and it's gonna look good for at least another maybe 6 months or more before all these get so bushy that I just have to trim them up. That's why I like the crypts. I like the Java ferns. Like all these Java ferns were like going crazy. We're like all the way up here, and they were just like floating. They weren't even attached to anything. They had like grown a bunch of babies off the leaves like they do and just thrown them everywhere. And so I just came in here and I just like pushed them down. Like I just like tucked them. Just like went around all the back corners, tucked them in there, friction fit them, and now it looks awesome again. And you know, I could take like even some more Java fern and put like back there, or like this one's like kind of out of its spot. I could stuff it back down the hole again a little bit better. Yeah. So yeah, just my recommendation to get a tank, get like a 55 gallon or a 40 gallon, or like if you don't have room for that and you just want to experiment with a bigger tank than like a nano tank, you have a nano tank, get a 20 gallon, because the 20 long, it's like the same thing. You just put in 10 or 15 of these guys, whatever kind of plants you want. Some shrimp. I would always put shrimp in like almost all my tanks, as long as you have something that's not going to eat them. That's why I recommend the fish that are this size, because they're not going to bother any of, you know, they might eat some of the smallest babies, but like I had plenty of babies surviving here, and I have bristlenose catfish, which people say might mess with shrimp. I have bamboo shrimp in here, which are like a larger version of them, which you figure, I mean, they're filter feeders, but they do say that they are opportunistic. Like they can eat stuff, you know, they can eat pieces of stuff. It doesn't have to be microscopic little pieces of stuff that they eat. And yeah, some snails. That's pretty much like that would be like a perfect tank. Or like if you're like a betta person or like a German blue ram person, you could probably house all this same stuff with a betta or a German blue ram and just have less shrimp. Like you would want to get the shrimp going first, get them like a bunch of hiding spots like I do. Like you want these rocks, and like you see these rocks are like, I bought these from Anchor. These are not that expensive, and I did spend a little bit of time gluing them together. But you see, I glued them together, and like from the front you really can't tell. Like it looks good. It doesn't look like, you know, a bunch of rocks that I just like makeshifted together. It just looks like they're just sitting there. It's got algae growing over it and stuff. Like over here, you can't even tell. These rocks all just look like they collapsed like that or something. But those are all glued together. They're not just sitting. And I did all that. And it's like full-size rocks. I super glued them together, and they just, you know, it's like you got to be careful. You can't like let it like just like take all the weight of a rock on the super glue, but you can get them to kind of have like a little joint, you know, like a little movement where the super glue is, and it keeps them together once you put them down in the sand and stuff. And like I would recommend driftwood for sure, especially if you have bristlenose or like cories or something. Like a lot of those little catfish like to rasp on this driftwood. And so if you don't have enough food in there that day, like you happen to, you know, you fed but all the white clouds or whatever ate all the food, well they're gonna rasp on this algae, and they're gonna rasp on this driftwood, so it'll be okay. Yeah, that's like my dream tank. It's like this is a dream tank right here, and like the only thing I really want to do with it is get like a 175 or 200 gallon when I move out of this place and get like permanent residence. Make a little fish room, maybe just put like a couple breeder tanks and like a bunch of small tanks in there, and then just breed some stuff in there if I have the time. And then like inside my own house, like the rest of the house or whatever, like separate from the fish room, I would only want one big show tank, and I just want a big show tank just like this. Rock work in the back, a little bit of accent rocks here up in the front and stuff. You know, you want to go like big plants, like Java ferns are pretty big. I have melon swords back there too, but you guys can't see them at all because they're like kind of growing, but they're just like, yeah, you really just can't see them. Like they're just like so far underneath the Java ferns, so they're probably not growing very well. But you know, you could get something else. You get Amazon swords. I just didn't want them because they spread a little fast. If you have a lot of fertilizer in your water, they will spread for you, which some people like. I don't want stuff to spread for me. Like, I just want it to kind of bush out over time. But yeah, you just start out with the Java ferns in back. Maybe get yourself a dwarf aquarium lily. If I would have known I was going to have these exact plants in here when I set this up, I would have put the dwarf aquarium lily in the very back. I would have moved those rocks forward a little bit. But the good thing about me having those rocks so far back and just Java ferns back there is they're very, very shaded. So like everything that's hiding back there feels like it's actually hiding. You know, you can't fully see back there. I can't even fully, you know, see back there with my naked eye, like to see if there could be something hiding back there and I wouldn't know. Especially if it wasn't like something bright red, you know, like if it's not a bamboo shrimp, if it's a bristlenose, like one of the darker bristlenose, for sure they can hide back there. So yeah, that's like the best way to do it, man. Just like Java ferns or something, background plant, put it in the back. Crypts. These crypts get pretty big. These Wendtii crypts. They're cryptocorn Wendtii reds or browns. I think they're browns or bronzes, not reds. Then these are like, it's like a mixture. These like medium-sized green crypts are either lutea or lucens, one of the two. I got two different kinds, and they're both in here. I think these might be one of the kinds, and then there's like these ones are kind of like smaller almost, like they grow with like a little bit different leaf structure too. And then, oh, give me 1 second, guys. I gotta get off. My girlfriend's calling me. But yeah, then the little plants. And that's the perfect tank, guys. That is the perfect tank.